I'm ready.
Hine matahumanai, Shabarachim gam yachad. 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 Hine matahumanai, Shabarachim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom. We'll begin the same way that we always do, taking a moment of silent reflection, thinking about what the last week has been like, highs, lows, what you'd like to carry with you into Shabbat, and what you'd like to leave behind. And if there's something positive that's happened in your life and you'd like to share it, we'd like to hear it. Anna's going to start us off.
Okay, Dr. Garrett led us on a wonderful trip to Gatlinburg and his and Floyd's GPS group, and we had a lot of fun.
That's wonderful. A great trip for GPS.
Had a great guide through the in the mountains. The guy was very interested in telling us a little bit of the history.
Oh, interesting. Great.
Showed us where all the fires were.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, that's so nice. You had such a great trip.
There was a lot of fun. It was a great group.
Glad to hear that.
Some of them had fun.
Ooh. What else? Anne.
I went to the Jewish Center tour this Wednesday, and there was only a couple of us that went on it to see the Jewish cemeteries, the old ones,
Mhm.
the one over in Evanston and the one downtown, that's near Plum Street.
Sure, yeah.
And it was so informative, and I got to see the grave site of Isaac Mayer Wise. And I had never, because I'm not from here, so I had never been to
The Jewish cemetery tour. Yeah, very
young
interesting.
man that took us through is in charge of all the, he said that the Jewish cemeteries, now they're all gonna be together. I don't know
Yes,
how many people-
yes.
I didn't know that out in Loveland.
Yes,
Maybe
yes.
you knew one, but
Mhm.
you probably know all that,
But the rest of us might not. That's great. Wonderful.
fill us in on everything.
Yeah.
All the old families and,
That's fun. That's interesting. What else? Go ahead. Officially joined Temple Shalom.
And I'm very happy.
We're happy too.
Feel good to be part of the community.
We're happy you're here. What else? No? Yeah, go ahead, Lior.
I also joined.
Yes, you did.
And I've been very impressed with everything that I've experienced so far. And looking forward to maybe your 101 class on Sunday.
Yes, I am too. And you'll have your name tag soon because you have no Liora there. So, anyone else? Anything else that's positive? Go ahead.
We found a youth group advisor.
You found 2 youth group advisors actually, and by found, Stephanie nominated them. So that's really wonderful.
They
Excited.
didn't say no.
That's great. Darren, you had something?
So I had brought 3 people to Yom Kippur service, a 9-year-old and their parents. They arrived on Rosh Hashanah. We finally found them an apartment. They won't be ready for 2 more weeks, but we found an apartment, and we're going to be able to get the 9-year-old enrolled in school here quickly now.
Wonderful.
So, and I just found out they're coming in 2 weeks. Just
So,
in time to empty it
Darren and
out.
his partner host many people who are finding refuge in the United States. And your house has had like as many as 20-something,
That was 28.
28 people coming through their doors. They put through school and find apartments for and relocate.
They're all
I'll come, all family members, extended family, Venezuela, right? Yeah. You don't have to beat that. Anything, you have one word, Edie, go ahead. Oh, just one, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm excited for Sunday.
So we're starting this, so usually when we have these Intro to Judaism classes, we send people who are seeking that to the main campus of HUC where we work for it, but this year we had close to 30 people wanting to do that, and that class only has 12 people in it, so we had double what the community class had, so that's what she's talking about, Alex is talking about, that, they are talking about that we're starting this thing on Sunday, so people are welcome to come, and we'll be working towards intro in that way. Are there any guests here who'd like to introduce themselves? You don't have to.
Well, I'm Amy Hill, and I have attended Baby Naming here before, and your Rosh Hashanah service.
Welcome. Those of you who are lucky here next to Amy, because she's got an amazing voice. Do you want, go ahead, yeah.
I'm Becky Miller. I'm Megan Miller's mom and Tonda Miller's grandma. And I've heard great things about you guys, and I also streamed you on Cold Ninja.
Great. We're so happy you're here. And we for sure have our online community that even though you're not within our physical walls, you are part of our prayer space. I know my mom's watching tonight, so I just want to say hi to my mom. And hey, Mom. Hi, Mom. Everyone says hi. And just welcome everyone who is joining us online, the many of you. And Mike is here tonight to help us stream and sound better. But Mike, this is only his second Jewish service, and I didn't give him a service outline, and he's going to do the PowerPoint. So we're just going to be like really, it's my fault as we go through it. So I'll be shouting out PowerPoint numbers and prayer book numbers. So we're just going to it's going to be fine tonight. So with that energy and spirit of welcoming, understanding, and flexibility, I welcome up Donna to light the Shabbat candles. It's on page 2 and 3 in your prayer book, and I think, Micah, I think it's the second PowerPoint. No. Yep. Third.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher hashanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you.
Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen.
Next PowerPoint slide. We're on page 8 in our prayer books. Together, I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. We're going to turn to those little sheets that Mel handed out, those song sheets. And we're going to sing this song, Hachnasat Orachim, and Mark's going to walk us through it a little bit. But it's the season, our sukkah, our beautiful pride sukkah has not yet come down yet. So it's good, but it's this idea that in this moment, normally it's love thy stranger, but during Sukkot and during this festival, it's a moment of taking it from stranger to neighbor and to guest, that the people we're welcoming into us are not strangers, they're living in our houses, quite literally for Darren, but that we're supposed to see it this kind of way. So it's an English song mostly, and I think we can do it.
I think if we just work on the refrain.
I didn't put it up there.
Oh, on the sheet, that'll be fine. You can see it starts at Hachnasat Orachim. Just listen to it. Hachnasat Orachim, we are welcome, we are loved. Hachnasat Orachim, we are holy, we are one. Everybody ready? Try it. Hachnasat Orachim, we are welcome, we are loved. Hachnasat Orachim, we are holy, we are one. And then after we go through the verses, you can sort of gather in as you think. Let there be no strangers in our midst, let there be no fear. Here we love our neighbors as ourselves, we all are welcome here. Let the scared and lonely find a home, let there be no fear. Here all people find an open door, all are welcome here. Refrain, Hachnasat Orachim, we are welcome, we are loved. Hachnasat Orachim, we are holy, we are one. All who love, who dream the world anew, let there be no fear. Sister, brother, those of every age, all are welcome here. Hachnasat Orachim, we are welcome, we are loved. Hachnasat Orachim, we are holy, we are one. With one voice we acclaim, we were called here each by name, all unique with different gifts, we are one. Many lives, many souls, we need all to make us whole, all unique with different gifts, we are one. Those who grieve, who hurt, who shy away, let there be no fear. Here is home, a peaceful place to rest, all are welcome here. Hachnasat Orachim, we are welcome, we are loved. Hachnasat Orachim, we are holy, we are holy, we are one.
We continue welcoming Shabbat, returning to our prayer books on page 20, and we'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and arise with 9.
dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 Bnei Shabbat Kabbalah Lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 Bnei Shabbat Kabbalah Or v'zechor v'tipor echad Ishmianu el hamiuchad Adonai echad Ishmo echad L'shamo tiferet ve'litila Lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 Bnei Shabbat Kabbalah Lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 Bnei Shabbat Kabbalah Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha Ki hi makor haberacha Merosh miketem nasucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila Lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 Bnei Shabbat Kabbalah Lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 Bnei Shabbat Kabbalah Hitoreri, hitoreri Ki v'oreku miori Uri, uri, shetaberi Kevod Adonai alayich nigla Lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 Bnei Shabbat Kabbalah Lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 Bnei Shabbat Kabbalah Boi b'shalom atara b'ala Gam b'simcha u'v'tohla Tuch emunei am segula Boi chala Lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 Bnei Shabbat Kabbalah Lecha dodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 Bnei Shabbat Kabbalah. We remain standing as we continue with Chatzi Kaddish on page 26. Mike, I have no idea what slide we're on, but Laura's going to come help you. Yitkara v'yikara shmei rabba Amen. V'amad yivrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon u'vyomechon U'chayetecho ber Yisrael B'gala v'zman kariv v'himeru
Amen.
Yehi shmei rabba mevorach L'olam olam me'amaya
Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitzba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei kedusha
Beriku.
Leila min kol brechata v'shirata
Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiram be'alma v'imeru. Amen.
Continue with our call to worship on page 28.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
We're going to look up
up at the screen if you're able to for Roll Into Dark.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into night. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Bocheyam v'layla, v'el hod mipnei choshek, golei hod mipnei choshek, v'choshek mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into night. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
We continue with the watchword of our faith, page 34.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malachuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malachuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. We're on page 36. Next slide. Perfect. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'ribata bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ikshartam liot al yadecha v'hayu letotafod b'neinecha uchtavtam amezuzo beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim leloechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Amen. We continue together at the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. We continue with our Song of Freedom on page 40.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Norah tehilot, osef eleh, Norah
page to page 42 for Hashkivenu, but before we sing this song, just want to do that moment of, we started our service with the things that are positive, and there might have been things, I imagine, for many of us that we've carried with us into the service and we haven't quite put down yet. If there's something that you want to bring into this space where you know that this is a community that can hold you and see you, either from the greater world or for your own self, that you want to share with us, it isn't quite perfect, it isn't that good right now. We want to hear that too.
Rabbi Miriam and friends, you are all becoming a very precious mishpacha for us. We're on a difficult bridge over troubled waters, and being with all of you is a matana rabba, a great gift. So I thank God for Hashem, my rabbi, and I thank all of you for these sacred moments together. Musically, liturgically, technologically, literally. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi Goldman. Our hearts are with you.
I have found the politics of our country extremely upsetting and depressing the last couple of weeks. And today, I don't know what the outcome has been, but I'm sure we know what it's going to be. I just felt like I came here, I was going to feel more peaceful and grounded.
So I'm going to summarize for you just because I can see Doris can't hear you, that the politics in the country are very disturbing right now for you, and you came here to be present here. Mhm. Hopefully it's a little bit of peace until I wind you up in like 2 minutes. For now. Yes, I think that's true for many of us here. Alex, yeah.
I have a friend who's been struggling with depression, and I found out a couple days ago that she's doing more poorly than I knew about, and I just feel really far away and like I can't do anything to help.
Mhm.
And so it's been weighing down on me a lot.
So the weight of a friend dealing with depression, feeling very far away from that person and unable to help someone who's really deep in despair. Claire?
I've just been feeling really lonely lately.
Mhm.
Just kind of walking this path by myself. But thankfully my mom's here, so.
The loneliness of finding your own truth and authentic voice. Yeah. Go ahead.
On a lighter note,
Yes.
Camp Gucci, which is affiliated with Reform Movement here, had a camp reunion this weekend, and we have 3 grandsons that are there celebrating Shabbat together now.
Beautiful. Thanks for bringing us up. So there's a Camp Gucci retreat and 3 grandsons celebrating together. Anything else you wanted to bring into this space? No. Okay, it's there, I know. So under the shelter of communal space and connectivity, that of course we can't know all the secrets of each other's hearts, but together we're united in prayer and connection and collective unconsciousness, I imagine in some way, we find hope and prayer, positivity, and hopefully strength for the journey in some way here. So we're on page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim Ushmot zetenu Uvainu L'chaim u'shalom Me'ata ve'ad olam Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu shomreinu לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
We continue on page 44 with the joy of Shabbat and passing it from generation to generation, just as we do this evening.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
So before we begin our next prayer, if you could turn to page 50, and you'll see it says winter asterisks and summer asterisks. So just a pause there. We're moving from summer to winter, just in case you didn't know when it was 85 day or something like that. So Mark's going to help us to remind ourselves of that tune as it goes through. It's Mashiv Haruach Umorid Hagashem. Bring on the wind and bring on the rain. So just so you know, you prayed for it. You teach it us? Yeah.
Mashiv haruach umarid hagashem.
Together.
Mashiv haruach umarid hagashem.
That was so good. That's lots of rain. Okay. So we'll slip back into our prayer book on page 46 and we'll rise together for tefillah.
Adonai sepetai titaku v'yagid tehillah. Adonai, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. El Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanara, Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Hasei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Ula Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shamo Be'ahava, Melech Oseh U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, B'chayei hakol atah Rav laHoshia. Mashiv haruach umarid hagashem, Mekakel chayim v'chesed, Mekayei hakol b'rakamim rabim. Somek noflim v'reflech olim, Umatir asorim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha ba'geverot, Umidom elah, Melech memid umekayem, Umatzmiach Yeshua. V'neheman atah lahakayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai מקיים הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated as we continue together on page 57 in the English at the bottom. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, sha'odcha liv'adcha b'yir'ah na'avod. We continue for our prayer for abundant peace on page 60.
Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lekol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon L'kol ha-shalom, shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. V'choetu v'kosha b'shlomecha. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim
As we pray for this hopeful abundance and complete peace, we think about the need for all the healing that has to happen before peace is possible. In our prayers for healing of body, mind, and spirit, we welcome into our prayers all the people who are brave enough to speak truth, the people who have had awakened stories in them this week and the past few weeks and are struggling with what to do with it and where to place it. We think about those who've had recent diagnoses, returns of old pains and new fears, and aren't sure just yet where to put it, how deep that goes. You think about those who are in hospital beds and at home and in nursing facilities, and in people surrounding those who are struggling between this world and the next. Those who are struggling with infertility, with addiction, with grief, with all the natural suffering and pain that's part of our world. And our heart goes out to all of them, seeking wholeness and community and comfort. And strength goes out to the people who support them and us, doctors and nurses, therapists, counselors, artists, good friends. If you'd like to mention someone's name or your own name in need of healing, please share those names now.
Merrill Goldman.
Paul Rubin, Paula Colback, Meredith Clapp, Sharon Slessman.
to her family.
Arnold Applebaum, Joyce Applebaum, Leo Applebaum, Roberta Applebaum, Judy Avner, Mira Barner, Marcy Bine, Sheila Boniface, Elaine Frankowski, Jerry Goodwin, Ethan Kadish, Yael Kraus, Lee Krennick, Elaine Heightfield, Mel Hudson, Tony Janitas, Ira Lerner, Judy Levy, Eileen Levy, Lou Levy, Joan Lieb, Marcy Maxwell, Rhoda Meyer, Nancy Newmark, Phil Ryan, Iris Riggs, David Rose, Betty Roth, Bob Rubin, Aaron Reuter, Karen Schwartz, Ira Shum, Mahaya Stoneman, Lou Strauss, Susie Warschauer, Ann White, Fran Victor, Dr. Merrill Goldman, Chaim ben Yaakov Nechama, Michael ben Avraham V'Sarah. For everyone we mentioned out loud, those we hold in our hearts, and all of us in this room, because we're all on a journey towards wholeness and healing in some way. We'll continue on page 253 if you want to join with me. Misha berach avotenu v'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu yivarech et hacholim ha'eleh HaKadosh Baruch Hu yimaleh rachamim alehem L'hachli imam urvatam chazikam V'yishlach lahem meher refuah shlema min hashamayim Refuat ha'nefesh refuat ha'guf Hashta bagala ubizman karif v'nomar.
Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Lemotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We take some time silently with either the prayers of our prayer book or the prayers of our hearts.
Ratzon imrefi, v'hegyon libi lefanecha, yihiyu laratzon imrefi, Adonai tzuri v'goali, Adonai tzuri v'goali.
is Mark's version, if anyone didn't know. It's so good. So I'm going to walk you through a Torah study today, and I will admit it's been a discombobulated week for me, which is going to be manifest in the copies that I made for you, because I didn't even copy them correctly. It's like backwards and forwards. So you're actually doing better if you can just listen, or you can grab a Tanakh, or you can use my backwards copies. So that's where I am. We're nothing but, if not honest here. And there's not enough, also. So, actually, here's this one too. Yeah, you can share them. I'll move fast. So this week's Torah portion is Breshit, which is the very first portion of the whole Torah. If you were here in Simchat Torah, then you saw us wrap that Torah all the way around, and I read that first chapter for you. So hopefully you were here to witness that. And what I wanted to talk about is actually how this Torah portion breaks down the very origins of our story, and then how that might affect us as Reformed Jews now, and what that looks like. So, the first words of our Torah, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz, that God creates the world through words. And then we have the story. So if you can see it, and if you want to read it, there's day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, right? And it goes through. Yes? Thank you. I need some affirmations. It gets dangerous if I just talk to myself. And right, so we have sort of details of exactly what's happening on every single day. So if you can look there, so that's there. And then it ends with what happens on the seventh day. What happens on the seventh day? You don't need this, you know it. God rested, Stephanie, not he. God rests on seventh. That's why they don't want to shout out. God rests on the seventh day, and bless the seventh day, declares it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done. Such is the story of heaven and earth when they were created, seen. That's chapter 2, verse 4. So then, and you'll see it's actually mid-sentence even, and if you look at 2 mid-verse 5, or verse 4, it says, when the Lord made earth and heaven, when no shrub of field was yet on earth, and no grasses of the field had yet sprouted, because the Lord God had not sent rain upon the earth, and there was no man to till the soil, but a flow would well up from the ground and water the whole surface of the earth. It starts there. I read that really fast, didn't I? I just saw your faces. Okay, so basically we have this itemization of 7 days. And then mid-sentence, it breaks off. It's not an end scene. It's a second creation story. Do you see that? Are you just, all right. I feel like you're entertaining me. So there's a second story there and a second creation of humankind. The first story you have, I call it like the peace and love story. So the humankind is created last, and that could be that we're a culmination piece, but we're interdependent. And our commandment is to be fruitful and multiply. But actually the animals are to be told to be fruitful and multiply before even we are. So there's sort of a hierarchy in terms of who comes first, and it's not us. In the second story, it's less intentional. It all happens in this just 5-line chunk. The human beings are created there, and we're created for the breath of life of God. So it's a little different there. And that there's a Garden of Eden. So the first 7 days, there's all creation of everything, but somehow there's no Garden of Eden. Second story, there's creation of Garden of Eden, and we get to dominate everything. We're in control of everything, and so it's a story of dominance in that way. And there are 2 trees. What are the 2 trees? Knowledge and life, good and evil, right? It's all about good and evil in that way. So I sort of see that as that second one of dominion is one where of almost a binary story of this is what's good and this is what's bad. This is who is in charge. This is who's not. This is who's godly. This is who's not. The first story is a little bit more, 1960s. And so, and we also have another story that's happening here, which is the Big Bang and evolution, or these 2 stories. So for Jews, we don't separate those. So we really have 3 creation stories. Good? So if we have 3 creation stories, then already our tradition is telling us from the very beginning that we are non-binary and we're not an either-or mentality culture, which then gets manifested in excessive arguing later on. And we are told you can be one story of believing that we are coexisting in peace and love, or we know where things lie and we have domination and we know what's good and evil. And what I argue is that we're saying that you actually can't live in one or the other, not well. If everything's peace and love and everything is good and we're all equal, you're probably just ignoring the fact that you are dominating or subversing or doing something to somebody else and just not admitting it. And in the other way, where everything is good or bad, then we're ignoring all the nuance and grayscale that's part of life. And so I would say that these two are together, plus science, in this really important way that's part of our faith. And it makes me think about America right now. That and when I was little, my daughter today found an American flag, and she comes out, she goes, "I'm gonna be the teacher," and she goes, "I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America." And she's doing this and very proudly. I almost put a video up, and then I was like, no one wants to watch my kid. And she's wearing a "No Human is Illegal" t-shirt that she had picked out. So, proud patriot, and that's the shirt she is wearing to school. And that, we assume that you can only believe one thing, that a patriot looks one way. A proud American can only be one kind of thing, believing one. And we teach our kids there's one story. This is how America was founded. And we know that this week, that now Cincinnati has Indigenous Peoples Day instead of Columbus Day. So if all of a sudden the stories that we were taught as kids, or even I was taught as kids, are already changing. So what are the creation stories of America? Mayflower, right? They come over, escaping persecution, creating a land of the free. That's a true story. Another true creation story, there were indigenous people here who were part of the land from the very beginning. And then these white guys came over and gave them a whole bunch of diseases. True story. True story, absolutely as created the first day. Another story, slavery. True story. And it makes me think also about Constitution, the people who believe that Constitution is fixed and the Constitution that is living and breathing, and that it's probably some of each. And so I think we shout out, there's only one way to see the world, and it just blocks us in. And that we get into the most problem in religion, which is the source of comfort and pain, when we say there's only one source, there's only one story, only one truth, and this experiment of existence only has one real narrative. That's when we really get a place. So if this is all true, that there's lots of things, and that it's not which one is right, but now that we know there's more than one choice, what are we supposed to do with it? I think at this moment in history, and maybe you could tell me, those who have lived longer than me, maybe it's not unique, but it feels very pronounced to me in my lifetime that subjects are now being described through a very singular lens, that we're being taught and told things that we know it's living in this world of variegation, but we're taught about it in one lens, that either I believe her or I don't believe her, legal or illegal. We are the world's most powerful country, or we're the laughingstock of the whole world. We save everyone, or we're horrible people, we're just as bad as everyone else. Good, evil. And I don't know which one the Democrats and Republicans put on, to be honest, right? Like, there's only one way to be part of all of this. And our tradition, I think, is saying, yeah, you can believe that way. That there's only one source story where choices are absolutely obvious. And then I think what happens then is we get to the tree of knowledge. So what happens with the tree of knowledge? You shout out. I'm like in a flow. Eve, right? So Eve in the tree of knowledge wakes up a new option, that life cannot be simple. And the tradition sees her in different ways. One part of our tradition says Eve, when she took the forbidden fruit and received knowledge, was an intentional corrupter of God's message. She disrupted a perfect system. She's responsible for all sin and evil in the world, and she was ignorant. The other part of our tradition says she was a heroine, a truth teller, someone who brought nuance and wisdom into our lives, and she was the exemplar for female righteousness. Sound familiar? Right? That there's all these different ways. And so what happens? She eats this apple and she gets banished. And we use that word. She gets banished and punished. And Adam pays the price because poor Adam, poor Adam. He gets banished too. But what happens outside of paradise isn't necessarily banishment, because they have children all of a sudden, right? They have Cain and Abel. And then what happens there? Well, so this is what I think. We always know that Cain kills Abel, right? But if you listen to this, especially my therapist in the room, listen to this. And I don't think I gave it to you. So Abel's the sweetheart. He takes care of sheep, and Cain is a tiller of the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought an offering to the Lord, and the Lord never wants what Cain has to offer. And it says that God pays him no heed, just ignores him. And Cain was much distressed, and his face fell. And then there's this push, like God says, why did your face have to fall? Like, why do you have to be so grumpy about everything? And why can't you just do right like your brother? And some of the language that happens around Cain makes me feel like the same language we use around people who struggle with depression, with addiction, that he's an outsider for our very first boys. One is perfect and one is a stranger from the very beginning. And God says, I don't like this one. Why can't he just fix himself? Snap out of it. And there's this midrash I just learned, which might have been made up by the person who told me, I'm not sure. But I really like it. It says that when Abel was killed, when Eve loses her child, there's an Orthodox tradition that if you lose a child, you automatically get entrance to heaven, because you've already, no matter what you've done in life, it is never as bad as what you just experienced in suffering. We're all nodding because we're like, that makes sense. So the midrash says, yeah, Eve came back and God said, well, there's no heaven yet, but there is still Eden just like right over there. Do you want back in? And God offers Eve and Adam a chance to come back. And Eve looks over that Disneyland option of a perfect world with no choices and everything is good. And she says, thank you for your offer, but I'd rather be with my son. She chooses truth, messiness, uncertainty, reality. She says, there's no such thing as an enchanted forest. I'm going to take all this crap, but at least it'll be real. It'll be my crap. And I feel like in that moment she's saying, did anyone promising complete safety or true answer or one way of be from the ills and the reality of the world is just lying to me. And this promise that there's one answer, one side to take, is a lie that covers over how fragile this human experiment actually is. She chooses to say with his imperfect faith, this imperfect world. We're saying with an imperfect religion with like a million different things going on in it. An imperfect God, an imperfect country. None of us are in Canada right now. I'm a European system. I could be like on a plane right now. Like we could leave. We hate it so much we could go, but we're not. Because a part of us believes in it still. A part of us isn't giving up on this messiness. And that we don't believe necessarily that there's that fantasy is going to be a lot better someplace else. We'd rather stick with it. Maybe. Stick with it. This judicial system or whatever it is. And so if we're going to choose to stick with it and not actually do what we're saying we're going to do, then what does that actually manifest look like? What are the consequences of that kind of faith? And I'm going to stick with it. Instead of running back to the enchanted land where at least we knew what was good and what was evil. So when we say the system is broken, there's no hope, when we force ourselves against walls of only one vision of what righteousness can look like, I think we're only offering ourselves a partial truth. It's just a cheap resolution to our own baggage. And we have divided ourselves so resolutely that we've created an environment where we can't change our minds anymore. You look stupid if you change your mind now, which is ridiculous. It's ridiculous that evolution of your mindset or changing or saying, you know, I don't want that anymore is a problem. And I think that's part of like the shadow side of that magical fairy world of Eden. and the bar of good and evil. And I will say, I'm sure it's coming out, that I had a lot of anger this week personally, rage even, at the judicial system, at my fellow humans' reactions to the world, at the circus of our political engagement. Also, that rage is good. Like, it's okay. It's good for me. It keeps me awake. I also think it's part of grief. It's an important part of it. But if we stay too long in whatever feeling we're feeling, we'll get trapped in it. And you can always say, I'm going to come back to that rage for vacation, get mad a little bit again, and then step back out. So that I'm not part of perpetuating the cycle of binariness, of demonizing other people. Thomas Keating is a wonderful mindfulness teacher, and he teaches this thing about those when you get triggered by something, when you hear something and you feel it, an excessive emotion arise over you. I need to use this meditation a lot. So as a passionate person, so what you do is you just notice, ooh, I just got triggered. I just really want to do something right now, and you can see why Jude didn't come up with this. He says you're supposed to take a breath and say, I welcome this moment, and I'm going to give up my desire for power and control, for safety and security, for esteem and affection. And you might still be super angry, but at least you gave it a moment just to name it, that you're actually not in control of it, and that reptilian part of your brain isn't the one that's going to answer this particular thing. Just give it a moment. And now that I know that that's what took over me, what I'm going to do about that? Torah, halakha, law, ritual, Shabbat are all of our ways to do that mindfulness exercise, to give us a moment of pause and say, yeah, I'm triggered, or I'm angry, or I'm ready to fight, I'm sad, I'm vulnerable, I'm awake, I am villainized, I'm scared. I'm just not one thing. I am all things. So I'm going to end with this. I know I've been talking a while. In Deuteronomy, so on the exact opposite side of the Torah, there's just a lot of anger going on, and there's this line that says, Ein od milvado, there's nothing else in the world. And milvado, I think, can be translated different ways, but nothing else in the world besides God is usually how it's trained, but that's not really what the words are. And in Deuteronomy, it was written like, hey, you guys, you better do your job, follow the commandments, because there's nothing else but God. God's the only way to do this. And the Kabbalists, the mystics, said, oh no, it's the opposite. Don't you know? Ein od milvado, there's nothing else in the world but us. There's nothing else in the world but who we are. And took our text and said, it's got to be both. Follow the law, be part of the system, organize, be frustrated, and also see hope and faith as part of it. Shabbat shalom. Oh, that claps. Stephanie?
So on that topic.
Yes, so on that topic. Oh, here.
Okay, very subtle. Yeah. Hi, I'm Stephanie Ryan. I'm on this steering committee, and I'm going to do a few announcements. There's one that Miriam made very big for me. On this Sunday, all across Ohio, Reformed Jews and our partners across the lines of faith and race are uniting for a weekend of voter engagement and advocacy for State Issue 1, the Neighborhood Safety Drug Treatment Rehabilitation Amendment. This is something that helps decriminalize nonviolent crimes, nonviolent offenses, and it helps the overcrowding issue. And it also will address issues of rehabilitation and healing in our community. So these are information cards that have been beautifully printed. Please take one and pass it on. And also something else that's near and dear to my heart and Mel's heart. The listening campaign is coming. We are looking into what are the synagogue's next steps in terms of the physical space we inhabit. We are outgrowing our humble home right here, and so we need to start figuring out how we're going to approach this next step. And we have options, and we really, really want to hear from as many Haverim as we possibly can. So that's on the back of this service too, and you'll be getting email communications and a bunch of other information about that. And hopefully you'll be getting phone calls too. So with that, I will say the prayer for the community. May Adonai, the source of life, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless this entire congregation of Temple Sholem, together with the synagogues in Cincinnati and all holy congregations in this world. Bless our community, our children, our families, and all that is theirs, along with those who unite to establish synagogues for prayer, and those who enter them to pray, those who devote countless hours of their lives so that our synagogues may be a thriving place of spiritual welcoming. May the Holy One reward those who contribute to our community with healing, forgiveness, and personal strength. May God bless them by prospering all their worthy endeavors, as well as those of the entire people Israel. And let us say,
Amen. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Mel, for being our usher. Thank you, Micah and Laura, for handling the PowerPoint, the streaming, and the sounds without any guidance. Thank you to Donna for lighting the candles. And of course, always thank you to Dr. Bailey, who makes everything better in this synagogue. We'll begin the conclusion of the service. Oh, Larry? Shul and Fuel?
Gail's not here, we've got a reservation in Slats.
Okay, so for those who aren't used to it, Shul and Fuel, you shul, then you fuel. Everyone's welcome for food. And Slats is where they have a reservation. Where they what? Oh, would you like to do a hand raise? Tell Ann if you're coming so that everyone, yes. We take food very seriously in this congregation. Okay, we're going to begin the conclusion of our service on page 282. And when you reach that page, please rise. 282.
לתת גאולה יוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים יוסד ארץ, ומושב מקרוב בשמיים עמהו, ושלינתו זו בגופי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אין ממלכנו אפס זולתו, כתוב בתורתו, וידעת הים והושיבותה אל לבבתה. כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים עמהו, והארץ ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד, אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Page 288. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking in the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die. People do. It's when all that's left of me is love. Give me away. We mourn the recent passing of Dr. Lenise Dolan, Margaret Haywood, Mary Sheeler. We commemorate the anniversaries of the past during the yard sites of Louise Seligman, Ron Lutchkin, Tuwil Neiman, Harold Stern, Jeanette Zimov, Sally R. Rothman, Susan Levy, Kate Gelman, Esther Greenwald, Linwood Riddick II, Erwin Frieden, Dr. Edward Davis, Jack Grubbs, Abby Ostern, Bunny Kerwin. If there are others that you are remembering that you would like to share, please share those names now.
I don't know if you have the name of Dr. Merrill Brickdow.
Dr. Merrill
Brickdow.
Brickdow?
Her husband was dean at HUC, and then I thought she was director of education at Shello, probably with Rabbi Rob. Do any of you remember? I discovered that she had died.
I don't know, but you know better than me. I don't know.
Dr. Miro Brickdow. We used to call it Millie, whatever, and her husband was dean in my day. And when they did the obituary nationally, they mentioned that she was director of education at Temple Shello.
Oh. Do you remember that? Do you guys remember? You remember that? Yeah, you got
Thank you.
Schwartz and Rubin confirmed.
Yeah, thank you. A wonderful, great lady.
Thank you. Anyone else? If you are in mourning or commemorate a yard site, please rise first. We acknowledge you, see you, and rise together as a community of comfort for all those we mentioned out loud, those we carry in our hearts, and for all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them as we continue on page 294 with our words of affirmation. Yitkadal v'kadash shemei rabba be'alma divra chirte be'amlich machlute b'chai achon v'yom achon v'chayei dechol be'Israel b'gala uvizman kariv imrum Yehei shmei rabba mivarach leolam olmei olmaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei gerusha Le'ela min kol brechata v'shirata, tishbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imrum. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imrum. Osei shalom v'imrumav, hu yasei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imrum.
Osei shalom v'imrumav, Yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
May their memories be a blessing. Please be seated. We'll conclude on page 330. We'll just stop there.
Yeshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni Ki Yeshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni Oti Leomeyan Benu Uveni Oti Leomeyan Benu Uveni Yeshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni Ki Yeshmera Shabbat El reigning.
Before we go off to our Kiddush and to our challah, to our wine and our bread, if you could connect to one another to receive a blessing. If you're not a toucher, you don't have to. If you're online, you can put your hands out. Whatever works to receive in this moment.
Yivarechacha Adonai v'yishmerecha Ye'er Adonai panav elecha v'yikunecha Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha Shalom 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 V'yasem lecha Shalom Shalom V'yasem lecha Shalom 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 V'yasem lecha Shalom Shalom V'yasem lecha Shalom.
May God bless you and keep you. May Adonai's face shine upon you, be gracious unto you. And when God's face does shine upon you, may it remind you that you're not always right. And that's okay. And that you have courage and love in your life so that you can make this world the way it should be, back to Eden, but not in the Disney way, so that we can have wholeness and truth in our world. And together we say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom.